Whereas I'm greedy for good battles, RuinusInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new modded Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. SFO Grimhammer 3 plus Old World Chaos Dwarfs, and chosen by community vote the guy that likes fire almost as much as he hates Azgorh, Drazhoath the Ashen. Before we start, housekeeping, vote for the next campaign right now in the channel community tab, which I guess has just been renamed to posts for no reason whatsoever, but anyway. Check out our Discord and join the Ruinous host. Consider joining the channel or becoming a Patreon to get access to perks like exclusive votes, or support the channel by purchasing games through our affiliates in the description below. Big shout out to the modders, and as always, the biggest shout out to you guys for your comments and support. Anyway, let's take a quick look at the faction before we get going. Azgorh gets 5 research for every province capital, which is kind of meh. You need about 6 to 8 capitals then to be equivalent to 1 tech thief agent, so good in the early game, late game not so much. Percentage-based armaments, however, and capacity cost reduction from armaments is quite nice, as it's one of the bigger sort of limitations that we will be running into. This is a roller coaster though, because fire resistance though is not so great. Unfortunately, it's unowned territory only, which makes it rather useless, as most of the time you're fighting in enemy territory. Lord effects are solid though. Bonus movement range, always lovely to have. Upkeep reduction for Drazhoath's signature Kadai units, and bonus melee attack to, well, the effect is rather small, the effect range, but bonus effect to any Chaos Dwarf units, so Fire Glaives and, well, any unit with Contempt, basically. We'll probably mostly be using Fire Glaives for our purposes. Fire Resistance debuff is also nice, as we will be stacking pretty obnoxious amounts of fire debuffs via skills, spells, auras, and effects. Onto the setup, very hard, as that is the sweet spot, and the AI stats maxed all the way out. All glory to the algorithm, and get back to work.
Gul and Gorthar Ulama, Janachrand and Dokas Manari.
Alrighty, here we are, and as you may notice, this is not the Immortal Empires map, but the Old World map instead. I think that this will work out nicely. We've been doing a lot of campaigns in the Darklands lately, or near the Darklands, and this will allow us some more, I should say, considerably more variety. Plus, the Old World map, it does look pretty fantastically cool. I mean, look at Jarnagrund itself. It's just, it's fantastic. There's a lot of great stuff on this map. The big issue, of course, with the Old World is the fact that the end turns take like 3 to 5 minutes. It's absolutely insane. But what I'm going to try to do, I will try my best to edit out every single end turn so that the time that the AI is moving, I will try to edit that out. That said, that's gonna be an insane amount of editing over the course of all of the episodes that this is bound to run, so guys, please make it worth my while. Don't forget to support this campaign by dropping those likes and comments below, as it'll determine if we do more Old World stuff in the future. I think it'll be pretty neat. Anyway, Drazhoath the Ashen and Legion of Azgorh, how they play. So we fight battles and we have the raw materials, armaments, conclave influence as well, but we'll get to that, and a labor, and we have to essentially balance all of those resources plus gold in order to do what we need to do using our industrial economy. We have the Hellforge, which allows us to control the limits on the capacity of units by spending armaments of getting them, and of course Drazh himself has an increase in the amount of armaments that he gets. We have Conclave Influence, which will unlock in some time, wherein we can access seats in the Tower of Jarnagrund and the Conclave of Evil, and obviously power up our faction via whichever things we choose, which we'll get to when we unlock it. And of course, military convoys like the Cathan caravans, we send them around, they gather stuff, they do stuff, they fight battles, which provides some nice variety. And I think there will be plenty of variety here, as unlike the regular Immortal Empire's Darklands, we're going to have a lot of different factions around us, so tons and tons of variety pretty much immediately in terms of enemies, which alone should make it pretty fun to play. Anyway, let's see what we gotta do, or let's start off with Infernal Castellan. You have Callus. Income from post-battle loot, reinforcement range, income from sacking, labor post-battle. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Early increase to labor, and, well, actually, the game, not just early, a game along or game wide, whatever. We could take a look at the text and all that stuff, but I think we want to just jump into our first SFO Chaos Dwarfs battle right here. We got, ooh, a unit of Black Orcs, a tier 5 unit, or tier 4. Tier 4 unit in here. Our best is the Fire Glaives, which are tier 3, though the Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses are also insane. Oh, Kadai Fireborn are also tier 4 as well. Neat. For some reason I thought that the Fireborn were tier 3, but, well, if they're tier 4, that means they probably require a tier 4 building, which means it'll take a bit to get them. But anyway, first cinematic battle, let's get started, and then we'll deal with all the other stuff later. Go. Alrighty, Drazhoath getting lost in the pile of orc laborers there for a second, but here we go, his first battle. A little bit weird to see him not on Cinder Breath and instead on foot, but well, I wager we won't see him on foot for all that long. Anyway, he's gonna start the battle off with a nice hit to the enemy Black Orcs there. By the looks of it, didn't do all that much damage, however. We are deployed in such a way that we have our blunderbusses and our fire glaives able to fire. Our fire glaives will be focusing down the Black Orcs as best as they can, and then the blunderbusses will be focusing down, well, whatever. Looks like the enemy will charge forth with its goblin wolf raiders on both sides, and our goblin laborers will be there to hold them back. They may be technically using spears, but they don't have any anti-large, so it's not going to help them all that much against us, but that's alright. They're just meat shields here, and they'll probably die in droves to our own blunderbusses, but frankly I wouldn't have it any other way anyway. Alright, a few nice volleys from those blunderbusses into the flanks of those units of Goblin Wolf Raiders, who are pretty darn fragile themselves, but it does look like the enemy Orc boys are moving in. We're going to have to try to do a little bit of area denial as we activate our Dreadquake Mega Mortar or whatever, and drop our first Dreadquake Barrage upon the enemy. Looks like they will react to it a little bit and try to back away, but they will get clipped by it anyway, and we will continue firing into them with our Fire Glaives. And I said it a million times in my Zatan campaign ages ago, but I don't think I'll ever grow tired of hearing the pew-pew laser sounds of those fire glaives. Here we also have the Kadai Fireborn wading into the fray against the enemy Black Orcs. Not the ideal matchup, as the great weapons of the Black Orcs are certainly threatening to the Fireborn, but fortunately between the weakness of the enemy due to the Dark Subjugation cast by Drazhoath and the Fireborn hitting hard and the Fire Glaives providing support, it looks like we're okay. The Black Orcs are out, and that was the main critical unit, but that does mean that the rest of the enemy units have arrived and are in the middle of the fight. Orc boys are ripping apart the Orc laborers, hardly surprising, but not to worry. Just like the Goblin laborers, they're just here to act as shields for the blunderbusses. Unfortunately, the enemy Goblin Wolf Riders have rallied and charged the blunderbusses, which prevented said blunderbusses from firing into the back/flanks of all of those units of orcs. Another nice hit from Drazhoath. He'll be spamming his Burning Wrath for quite a bit. At 5 mana, it's still reasonably expensive, but when it actually lands where you want it to, it does decent damage. Looks like the orcs turn, and as they turn, that's even more volleys from those blunderbusses into them, and just like their units have rallied, so are our own, and doing the same. We have made enough space now in the melee line to allow our Fireborn to back off and start ripping into the enemy archers, as all that archer fire was getting quite annoying. Not perhaps to the Fireborn, But they can have a little fun here. Well, insofar as they can, you know, comprehend it, which they can't. Because they're not really sentient demons. But anyway, I digress. The enemy's left flank still had their Goblin Wolf Riders, but the Fireglaives are pew-pewing them down right now. It looks like they're going to book it on out of there, and with them, the enemy Lord will shatter as well, and the first battle will be ours. And damn, look at the size of that war boss compared to the orc laborers. Like, mass-wise and size-wise, just absolutely gigantic. Hardly surprising, of course, but that big boy grew big. But anyway, a very nice little first fight, obviously designed so that we can't lose it, but still nice. Alright, there we are. A fun little first fight. Love the presence of those black orcs. They essentially forced us to focus them fairly, well, quite a lot. In fact, we devoted most of our resources to dealing with them first, which allowed the cavalry and to some degree the orc boys to clean up in terms of the goblin laborers. Of course, we are contemptuous of them and they are expendable units, and that's what they're there for, but we do need them at least for now. And in terms of healing versus, 925, that's actually a decent amount of cash to start off with. I think we'll ransom the captives to start off then. Alright, beautiful. And we get another 500 cash for our trouble. Black Causeway as our nearby territory, and it does have some troops, not to the same degree that we just fought, though, without those black orcs. Now, out of curiosity, what is around us? We are currently ooh, hello, free island. We are currently all around the Darkland orcs, which is, I think, the same opponent that Drazhoath usually starts against in vanilla as well, or in Immortal Empires, rather. Pallid Nurslings, there's a Nurglite faction nearby. They do like us decently well. I see a bunch of ruins here, which probably means Skaven, and the... I wonder if they start with all three provinces of theirs. If they're anything like these guys, they probably do. And I have no idea what's down here. Oh, actually, we do. Flayed Rock is Burning Wind Nomads. I guess we'll have to push this way towards the Burning Wind Nomads as soon as possible. Try to make it to the coast in general, although, well, we'll probably have to send a separate army down this way, and just depending on who declares war on us. I think the nice thing about not knowing the old world map all that well is that we will probably make mistakes, which will make for a harder campaign, which will be great. Just great. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta start building, it's expensive, but we probably should get the Blunder... I was about to say Blunderbuss building up and running, though the Chaos Dwarf Warrior is already available out of this building. Meaning... we could do a one-turn Hobgobbo camp. You know what? Maybe we'll wait. We'll see if we can capture anything at... oh, Black Causeway has the Greenskin Wharf, meaning we're actually better off building this Hobgoblin mustering camp, and then building Hobgobs next turn, and then just deleting the mustering camp for another structure later on. Alrighty, what about techs? I believe there's... ooh, upkeep production for Goblin Laborers. It's not much, but I'll keep them nice and cheap. Tallest Towers gives us control, and campaign line of sight for settlements, which frankly, in Old World is probably pretty important. Labor gain post-battle, which is nice as well. Construction costs for basic and advanced military structures. Is this non-military structures? Outpost settlement. Ooh, that's probably important early on as well. Construction costs for all buildings. Alright, so we probably should go through this relatively quickly. I think we will maybe start off with Stronghold Syndrome because we're using the Laborers, though we'll want to switch to Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits as fast as possible. They have Poison, they have Bleed, they have Precursor Weapons, they have Stalk, they have Vanguard Deployment. They're really nice units. And, of course, we can't use them as mainline infantry unless we get Gorda's Backstabber, but, well, eventually. Anyway, I think we're going to jump into the Black Causeway, then. Nothing else to do. Close victory, and one of our Goblin Laborers will die. I think we have to minimize casualties here, so we'll fight this one as well. Go.
Sinrak sa Astragoth Katamu. Is Gandut.
Alright, I just heard him say Astrogoth and nothing else, and you just know the stream of invective coming from him about Astrogoth is something to hear, or something, I was going to say something to behold, but here makes more sense. Anyway, once again, we start the day, and oh wow, the spell whiffs right into the water and does nothing. Frankly, my fault for launching it where it could hit the water anyway. Looks like this will probably be a quicker battle due to the enemy lack of black orcs, so they have no units to absorb a lot of our hits. Although on the other hand, with all of our goblin laborers below half HP, we do somewhat lack our own units for absorbing enemy hits as well. Kadai Fireborn wade into the fray. We do keep them as a reserve until the enemy's faster moving units charge on in, so that we can send the Kadai Fireborn where they're most needed immediately, since they're very quick moving at 55 speed and can react relatively quickly, which the Dwarfen infantry obviously cannot do. And Dreadquake Mortar Barrage comes down, echoing what happened in the first battle, separating the enemy army, or the enemy army, separating this little blob of enemy units, and allowing us to get a couple extra shots into them with our blunderbusses. Enemy center has moved towards Drazhoath himself, who holds the enemy foot off, surrounded by orc laborers rather than his personal guard of dwarf warriors, but not to worry, we'll get those on field. Get them on field and doing something. Out here, the goblins have nearly destroyed our goblin laborers. It's orcs versus orcs, goblins versus goblins, at least to start off this campaign, despite the fact that the Chaos Dwarfs are at the helm, but I'm sure they're amused at the whole thing. Looks like the enemy archers have decided to go after our Castellan, so we will cover him with the Fireglaves, who we will send into melee with him, as obviously the Fireglaves should be able to rip apart the enemy goblins without too much trouble. Wah or no wah. They're a very decent in melee sort of unit. Anti-large as well because of the glaives, but all good. I'm sure they shan't have too much trouble against the Gobos. And especially with the Castellan leading, and it looks like the Gobos are out. And bounce power shifts to about 85% in our favor now. A couple of units are rallying, but the Kadai Fireborn, which have at this point destroyed, and the enemy archers are getting ready to smash into the flanks of those units. A few parting shots from our blunderbusses into the backs of those goblin infantry as well. And here come the Fireborn. I really can't wait to get a few more of these guys on the field. Got to love watching them. They're a very entertaining unit. I think Twin Axe units are just generally entertaining, but when you have a big old monstrous infantry with all of those burrowing animations and a flashy, fiery stuff, that's pretty darn fun. Anyway, with that, it looks like the enemy army is pretty much done for. A single unit of Goblin Archers is the only unit remaining in the fight, and I'd wager against the Fireborn with their splash damage, they won't be in the fight for long. The best bet is probably hold their heads underwater and just try to crawl away. Although I suppose this is water in the Darklands, so I don't know, touching it at all is probably a very, very bad idea. Frankly, kind of surprising that there isn't an oil slick and the whole place isn't just on fire from the presence of our units. Anyway, I do believe that the units have all started moving at the same time because the enemy army is done for. And just a quick little fight, but a reasonably fun one as well because of our lack of melee infantry. Alright, there we are, a nice little bit of labor and a free vial of Hashut. Additional melee defense and a little bit of extra weakness to fire damage, which is nice because, well, as we know, Drazhoath does like his fire. We'll take it. Duration is 60 seconds, which is quite a bit. It looks like it's probably a single target since there's no area, or at least it doesn't say it, so, yeah, but certainly a nice support item to have, even if Drazhoath gets another item later on, and we can always pop it onto the Infernal Castellan or Castellans that will be in this army. Now, this place will probably be needed to take as an outpost. I'm going to say outpost. I don't remember what ports do for Chaos Dwarfs. Basically nothing. A little bit of control. This is actually kind of weird. Huh. I feel like this is weird for a port. The most industrious faction in the world, the only thing that they can do with the port is a little bit of extra control, a little bit of extra casualty or punishment rate, a little bit weak compared to some other ports. I suppose other ports usually provide growth, but we don't have growth, so... but anyway, Drazh, you are good now, and you have gotten your first level as well. Now, we want you to max out Burning Wrath and Killing Fire as fast as possible, though... Oh... No, you know, no, I still want to get Burning Wrath. We'll get Root Marcher as soon as we can. I'm just going to hope that we can reach these guys in 2 turns, which by the looks of it we can, which means 2 turns of recruitment. And speaking of, oh wow, those are some expensive Chaos Dwarf warriors, but we do need them. We've seen that the laborers are just straight up unable to hold the line, and we're just going to use them as disposable garbage troops to throw at the enemy and get in the way of our guns. And, ooh... Okay, that has to be prioritized. Control +2 for all provinces and Control +4 in all adjacent provinces. Though I do wonder whether the adjacency bonuses will count towards this since it's across the river. I guess the question is whether the ford here, which I assume is a ford, will... Actually, just out of curiosity. 1 second. Yeah, we could reach this in one go, but we'd have to leave these guys alive. Okay, you know what we'll do? Okay, there's 2 things we'll do. First of all, keep building those. And go for the Goblin Laborers. Let's take a look at what we have in Overseers. Bilious, campaign movement range, income from post-battle loot, and adjust. Income from adjust, rather. I gotta adjust, apparently. Flaming attacks, income from monkey. I don't really like either of these all that much, but I think that we need an Overseer here. Not that this isn't too bad. Armor +10 on magic item drop chance +100 from battle, eh? These guys are more expensive than Overseers, though the thing is, Overseers have a skill, as I recall, at least they did in Vanilla from last time I played Zatan, that allows them to get cheaper Hobgobs, and we're going to need to start the campaign off using Hobgobs, because, well, they're a lot cheaper, and that'll help us with our economy. I guess we'll go with Bilious, because this is kind of, I mean, sure, Banner of Eternal Flame and all that, and get more fiery units, but frankly, most of it, we have pretty easy access to flaming attacks and all that sort of stuff, so let's go with you, sir. Alright, and you're going to follow Drazh, and then as soon as Drazh's army is maxed out, we're going to split the army in 2. Probably we'll still need to take this before we move to Flayed Rock, but it is certainly a big old target here. Anyway, nothing else to recruit, we're not going to use the global recruitment. Then to set you up to channel. And you could actually, well, you could probably heal. Infernal Castellan, let's increase mobility for the entire army here. And ooh, we are the elite. Missile damage +5% for all units. Yeah, okay, this means we'll probably need a couple of Infernal Castellans in this army, which will probably be made up of Infernal Guard with Fire Glaives, maybe some Iron Sworn, depending, and definitely a bunch of Kadai, because they're his signature unit. Though it'll once again probably take a while to get to them. Anyway, I believe that's all we can or want to do this turn. We have little to no money remaining, nothing to build, except the Hobgob building, which we are in the process of doing. Alright, looks good to me. Let's end the turn. Man, those end turns are long when you don't edit them out. It's pretty crazy, but anyway, gotta do what you gotta do. What do we have here? Or this is the SFO start thing. I always go with the time of maneuvers. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a bonus. 25% extra campaign movement range for 10 turns, but I like to sort of start the campaign off fast so we can try to get to as many more advanced units as fast as possible in order to sort of enjoy them. So, time of maneuvers. All right. Guys, his factories are empty. It's a problem. It's a big problem. Gorda's a backstabber. Will be able to essentially command his own armies, so we got to get him on field as fast as possible, which means trying to get those Hobgobs in pretty decent numbers, but we'll be recruiting them constantly. Ooh, and he'll bring 500 labor with him as well. Let's give this a read, shall we? A recent uprising of Orc and Goblin laborers almost spilled over into full-blown rebellion, if not for the conniving actions of one of your Hobgoblin middle managers. Your informants tell you that the Hobgoblin had intentionally intentionally joined the rebellion before working his way into the inner circle of the rabble-rousers and promptly plunging his knife into every one of their backs. Of two things there is little doubt. First, that the hobgoblin's actions were not made as an act of loyalty to you, and second, that potential catastrophe to the supply lines had been averted by his backstabbing nature. Yet some damage had still been done, with the leaderless droves of escaped orcs and goblin laborers now scattered to join nearby war bosses. March out to claim back the losses from your workforce, and perhaps find this hobgoblin to put him in a more useful post. Will do. And fight 3 battles will do as well. Labor gain post-battle loot for 5 turns and a little bit of cash. And gouge the world. What is this? Construct a building from the mine chain. Okay, well, that'll be a bit. Let's continue. Next up. Probably want to get some hobgob archers up. Do we want to upgrade all the way to hobgoblin bivouacs? Well, I guess it depends on whether we actually manage to capture a location that already has a hobgob building, because we are intending on deleting this one. So that's potentially no. You go here. And, aha. Gorfang to Crusher. What we'll do is, I assume Drazh has no bonuses. Okay, he doesn't have any bonuses, good. What we'll do is we'll grab 2 hobgoblin sneaky gits and 1 hobgoblin archer. And it's basically all of our money. Fortunately, gold doesn't matter all that much to the Chaos Dwarfs. It's not as big of a deal as armaments. Well, armaments are going to be the big issue here, at least in the early game, and obviously raw materials and labor. You are then going to be able to channel while this guy recruits for you, which is why I did that. Alrighty, and oh no, don't tell me it's another end turn. It's another end turn, and no choice in the matter, I guess. Oh well. Oh, these guys are at war with you too. Okay, we better capture your location before they take it. End turn. Alright, construct a building from the assembly line chain in a factory to produce armaments, and it'll give us 75 armaments, which will be potentially quite nice. And we'll want to try to get additional warrior capacity and blunderbuss capacity as early as possible, after all, so we'll have to keep that in mind. This guy has recruited some units, but probably not going to be too much of a concern to us. And I don't think there's anything that we can do with any of this right now, so once again, let's get going, and then probably we'll have to end the turn soon afterwards. Hopefully once the number of enemy units die down, we will be able to, well, I will not be having to suffer through as many of those super long end turns. I wish my PC had a little bit more processing power just for this, but, well, you know, eventually, some way, someday, etc. Alright, Battle 3, close victory, medium casualties, more orcs, but about half of their army is damaged. Ooh, their first pump wagons. Let's see if we can snipe those with our fire glaives. Go. Alright, Chaos Dwarfs are definitely one of those factions where you probably don't want to hear whatever horrifying thing they're saying. Anyway, we're gonna get a... Wow. Okay, so that probably did, like, no damage. Let me just see here. 3 kills on Drazh for the cost of, what was it, 5 mana for the Burning Wrath? Yeah, 5 mana. Well, it actually was 8 mana because we overcast it, didn't we? Well, oh well, what can you do? It was actually aimed at these orc boys. 1 hit here, and then 1 hit hit the squigs, not 1 hitting the orc boys. But, well, what are you gonna do? Obviously, that spell is a lot easier to cast when you're flying, and that's why we need Cinder Breath as soon as we can get it. Anyway, here we go. We've deployed in such a way where we're going to be using this little plateau here as a wall to protect our Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses, which I'm sure the enemy squigs or pump wagons will be looking to charge. Our orc laborers and goblin laborers will be sitting in front of the Chaos Warriors, who are going to be obviously much tankier, but whose lives we actually somewhat care about, as opposed to the disposable trash that will take the hits for them. The Fireglaves are going to do their best to hunt down or fire upon any enemy elite units that they can, and by elites I mean enemy boar boys, pump wagons, really anything that is more threatening than the piles of gobos or orc boys. Alright, and now obviously we also have the fire arrows from the Gobbo archers. And there we go, there's that mega mortar coming in. The blunderbusses are shooting the squigs, possibly not the best use of the blunderbusses, but they were in range first, and thus they get the blunderbusses first. Our warriors charge in. It'll be Orc Boys versus Chaos Dwarf Warriors, which I'm sure will be holding them for quite the while. Time for the Kadai to make their way onto the field as well. And they're going to smash into some of those Orc Boys without us having to commit to the Dwarf Warriors here, as they'll be needed to hold back the Boar Boys instead, while our Fireglaves are going to have to focus down those Pump Wagons, who are down to about half HP, and are doing a decent job flanking us, smashing into the rear line of our units of Sneaky Gits. Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits, but yeah. Anyway, unfortunately for the pump wagons, they're relatively fragile, and the Fireglaves bring them down. Our Orc Laborers are nearly done for, and it's allowing the enemy rather, squigs to charge on through. Boar Boys are attempting to flank us as well. We got more Sneaky Gits sneaking around that flank, and hopefully pinning them in place as well. Fire arrows and blunderbusses alike will hopefully continue firing into this blob for a while. And we can see just the difference in SFO, even with the blunderbusses firing for a fair bit of time. They don't instantly delete a unit like they do in vanilla, so pretty big difference. Damn, those Orc Laborers, just fire upon them. They're in the way of the blunderbusses. There we go, at least a few of the blunderbusses are firing now. I like Skaven and Chaos Dwarves should be able to fire into their own expendable units. Fire into the Skaven, well, frankly, Skaven should just be able to fire into all of their own units, hardly matters. Anyway, Drazhoath will cast another Burning Wrath around himself, and this time, by the looks of it, it'll hit and get him a few kills. The enemy will activate their wall, but it's not looking so good for them, since their major threats, the Boar Boys and such, have been destroyed. We can see the Fireborn are rushing around in the background, hunting the enemy archers, though by the looks of it, they won't need to do so for much longer, as the balance of power shifts to 90% in our favor. Love seeing those lasers whizzing overhead. I can't wait for us to have like at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these units in this army. Hearing the laser pews here and there, and then seeing them get to work. And there we go, the blunderbusses have moved up to flank the enemy, and while the enemy is held down, pinned down by our tar pit of goblin laborers, the blunderbusses will fire into the enemy flank and into our own laborers alike. Killing them all in droves, which is exactly what we want. Oh, that sound. Alrighty, there we are. Looks like the enemy lord is routing, and I do believe the fact that he is routing means the rest of his army is pretty much done for. Enemy archers failed to achieve all that much, especially once the Kadai Fireborn charged through, and otherwise the enemy army was not able to find purchase through our melee troops to get to our range and stop them from obliterating them. One short of nice. The kill count. Now it's one too many. Alright, there we go again. Once again, huge casualties on our Orc and Goblin laborers, but that's what they're for, and they will be gone soon enough. Just gotta keep racking up the regular hobgobs until we can fill up the quest to get Gordas. Decent bit of treasury, decent little bit of labor, 167 kills and 15k damage on our Kadai Fireborn unit. Though by the looks of it, the hobgob archers are keeping pace, and so are the two firearm units. And yeah, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, very minimal casualties and able to hold the line against the orcs, no problem at all with that early game access to armor. Now this place, this place had an iron, if it had iron, I assume we have to occupy this factory. I'm not 100% sure about this, but let's talk about his factory. Expend raw materials to generate armaments, and well, we'll need at least one location in this. Oh, it had the same building, which means we could delete that one. Hey, that worked out. Alternatively, if we keep this, at least until we upgrade you, ooh, we need 750 raw material. Oh, actually, we have nearly that much. If we upgrade you, a moment. Factories generate armaments, right? We need armaments as fast as possible. It is a loss of 225 raw materials per turn, but raw materials are actually fairly easy to acquire because they're made out of outpost buildings. We'll need at least one early armament building. Pretty rapidly, I'd wager, in order to increase capacities. Which makes me think that we delete this, or just upgrade this quickly. I guess we could just upgrade this quickly and keep this here and still delete this and then replace it with another building. Alright, let's do that. We'll ignore you for now and delete you here then. We will go here, and then we will build another, I'm gonna say another 2 sneaky gits. And another Hobgoblin Archers. I'm not going to bother with the shielded Hobgoblin Cutthroats as yet. I really like the poison and the precursor weapon on the sneaky gets. Enemy killed in battle. And Drazhoath leveled up again. Okay, this time he's going to have to go for, no, Killing Fire. Got to get that passive ability up and running to start doing direct damage to enemies. And then we'll go for the Root Marcher. He is specialized for Flames of Azgorh because of the, okay. Okay, yeah. So because of the sort of final point of his unique tree, which means we want to get Flames of Azgorh as fast as possible. And we're not going to do any global recruitment. Oh, what we could do, though. I'm going to have this guy do it for us. You leave the settlement. You won't heal as much, but this way you can channel and actually start getting mana. Ooh. Hello. Methanian the Mephitic, and he starts with a unit of plague drones with death's heads. Interesting. I guess the question will be, do we want to fight these guys? I mean, they do seem to be liking us quite a bit. I suppose there's an argument to be made for allying with Nurgle, mostly to acquire soul grinders of Nurgle. But generally speaking, Khorne would probably be better because their fire damage, generally speaking, will work nicely with ours, and so will all their more motorcycle units. Anyway, you, 2 more sneaky gets, 1 more Hobgoblin Archer. And there we are. I take it we can build nothing else here, which means another lengthy end turn, at least for me. But I'll spare you guys the pain. Alright, and Skaven don't hate us either. Wait, out of curiosity, they're not at war with anybody. Oh. Wait, join war against our clansworks. No, we're not gonna do that. I wanted to see whether they'd be willing to do that for free. Because right now, I think we want to prioritize attacking the Burning Wind Nomads here, and that means hopefully not dealing with the Skaven until we're ready. But Chaos Dwarfs and Skaven do have a bit of a hatred for each other in the lore. Alrighty, Stronghold Syndrome, upkeep production for laborers and Hobgoblin infantry units. I assume that counts missile infantry and not just regular infantry. At least I hope so. Melee attack +4 as well, which is lovely. Technology researched. Next, we'll need to try to head towards the Great Butchery, but it looks like we can't do so in one turn, so we'll go to the edge of our own territory where we can still channel, at least for a little while. And then we'll have... Are you going to reach this place before we do, is the question. Wait, can we reach you? No, we are a little bit short. Alright, if he takes it, we're going to have to attack him and kill him. The problem being that this is our starting territory. And while it would be nice to ally with him, maybe we'll find Kugat somewhere and ally with him instead. Anyway, you are going to swap these units. And I guess we're going to have to build something. Alright, so, start by swapping. And we need 2 more, right? Where's Gordas? Gordas the Backstabber. 6 out of 8. Beautiful. And you keep channeling, and then you can get 1, 2, 3 more archers. And that'll max out the stack minus the goblin laborers, but they'll be gotten rid of. Technologies. Starved wolves is not what we were doing. I believe we were going to go for tallest towers now to get that control +1. And speaking of control, our labor is dropping massively right now because we have too much compared to how much we're using. So we're going to use the set an example and +15 control. It's only for a turn, but we're kind of heading into negative, and I don't like it. Set an example. And there we go. As much as needed. Then what we'll need to do is probably upgrade the factory, though... I wonder what commandment there is. I wonder if there's a construction cost reduction commandment. It's going to take 5 turns anyway, so we could probably spend the 1 turn to find out what it is. I think that's what we'll do. Otherwise, what do we have here in terms of upgrades? We could do it temporarily, like a gold building and then delete it, but... not super critical either, I would say. At least not right now. I think we probably want to build that ash level as fast as possible just to try to get the blunderbusses, at least until we can get the fire glaives. The other option would be to save up 250 armaments as fast as possible and get magma cannons, which frankly, we'd probably get a little bit more mileage out of. That's probably what we should do. Alright, well that means we need armaments, which means we do need to upgrade you in order to build the armament building, which means... Well, let's check the commandment first. And then we'll go. Alright. Building upgrade available, that's it. That's another end turn. Alright, fair enough, game. Alrighty, and it looks like, unfortunately, Methanian the Mephitic rather, has indeed taken the place. He did damage himself to do so, and we're probably going to need that in order to defeat him, but I'm sure we'll be able to pull it off. Gotta remember that Beasts of Nurgle are very nasty in SFO, much nastier in Vanilla, and we struggled with them a little bit, for those who were watching the Manfred campaign, especially when they were able to take choke points, although that is, of course, without the advent of fire glaives and stuff like that to deal with them. Plus, we're pretty well disposed to deal with Nurgle and any regenerative units due to the weakness to fire damage that they have. Anyway, Gordus is on field, and I hope he starts with movement available to him. And our military convoys are available. I guess we've reached level 5. Mission issued. Complete a trade with a military convoy. Ooh, if we do this quickly, we'll be able to get the armaments and then hopefully build up our first important thing. Complete a manufacturing forgecraft upgrade in the Hellforge. Okay. Let's immediately go to military convoys, create new convoy. And let's see, monster commander. The Lord's Convoy Army has additional monster units, so just a Lamassu and a Great Taurus. Gives us speed, weapon strength, blah blah blah. Hobgoblin favor gives us, ooh, lots of Hobgobbo buffs. Quite a bit of Hobgobbo buffs for not a lot of Hobgobbo units, admittedly. 3 Hobgobbo units versus a Lamassu and a Bale Taurus. I'm gonna say... I mean, this is really strong if we can get more Hobgobbo units, at least decent ones. But then I guess this can be really strong. Honestly, it probably doesn't matter. I'm gonna go for Hobgoblin favor. And just because. And then this is the closest one, yes? So I think we're going to immediately do this one just because it's the fastest one to complete in order to complete the mission. Afterwards, we'll be wanting to move to ones that are further away in order to acquire various things. Decent amount of labor for Gristle Valley. Well, we'll send them afterwards to acquire ancillaries and items and whatnot from completion of caravans or convoys or whatever. We're not gonna bump this up. I think I don't actually want to... I mean, we could use the raw materials, but right now we're recruiting and we still need the gold. And once again, raw materials are relatively easy to make. Oh, but we're about to spend a bunch, aren't we? Fine. Just keep it at 500. And then we'll see. It's all a balancing act. That's what this is about. Anyway, Methanian, the Mephitic, unfortunately, buddy, you've taken our territory that was earmarked for Drazhoath, and so you're gonna have to die. Not that you were ever alive. No allies have been chosen to become involved in this dispute, indeed. Well, neither of us have allies. And one of us won't be around much longer to have allies. You can go into Survivalist, as it's the only option. Drazhoath, you're going to hit up the Great Butchery. And, well, you're gonna get involved in some butchery, I presume. Like so. Then we'll pop Mr. Gordas in the army. And we gotta start leveling him ASAP, as it'll be, well, even without the levels, it looks like he immediately starts with this item, which will allows immunity to psychology for hobgobs and wolf raiders, as well as physical resistance and casualty or punishment rate, which is quite nice, because our casualty or punishment rate, as we can see, is absolute trash, so at least the hobgobs will be better at it. And then, yeah, he's got a ton of upgrades for them and essentially can lead his own hobgob army eventually. Like we did in the Zatan campaign, for those that still remember it, though that was vanilla and absolute ages ago now. Anyway, you go to Drazhoath, you two into... Oh, can't merge them here? Alright, fine. We'll use you to reinforce. Well, I'll use the orc unit to reinforce. Alrighty, I also want to just double check here. What do we have in terms of overseers? Bellicose, melee attack +4, melee defense +4. That's not bad. That might actually be a solid choice for Gordas' army, assuming that we don't want Sorcerer Prophet to lead, which we probably don't, because once again, these guys have... Yeah, Brutal Disciplinarian into Harsh Master. Although, the upkeep reduction... Not anything crazy. It isn't actually directly buffing anything. And it just makes the army really cheap, but it's not like hobgobs are expensive. Huh. My PC seems to lag a lot when I click this guy for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Anyway, looks like we've got a fight on our hands. Close victory, casualties medium, and oh, of course they got another beast of Nurgle. Well, let's hope that it's not too much of an issue for us. We got a lot more fire damage than we did before now. Go. Alright, cursing out Ostrogoth continues from Drazhoath, presumably. Actually, to be honest, would be curious to see if there was a translation of exactly what he is saying. But anyway, here we go. Methanian is foolishly taking territory that belongs to us and thus must be punished for it. We can see we are in the Darklands here. I've always loved the Darklands maps. They're so nice and atmospheric. The Cathan maps are all beautiful, and the Darklands maps are all, well, dark and, well, maybe darkly beautiful, whatever you want to call them. Certainly, once again, atmospheric. I love sieges in the Darklands. The sort of factory cities look incredible. The belching smoke, the oil slicks, and sort of the everything all dirty and industrial. It's beautiful. Anyway, here we go. The enemy will charge in with some Plague Toads who will immediately get hit by all of our range units. We have a fairly considerable number now, and the Plague Toads are fragile enough to melt away pretty darn quickly. We do have to be careful about the enemy range units hitting our pile of, or enemy flyers hitting our pile of range, but we do have a few units held in reserve. Ooh, love those fireworks though. I always love the fire arrows from the Hobgoblin archers. Anyway, we're keeping 2 units of Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits in reserve, and the Kadai Fireborn can obviously help as well as needed. This is also the debut battle of Mr. Gordas Backstabber, a legendary little fella, especially with how strong he's able to make Hobgoblin units, and I'm very interested to see how strong, especially in SFO. Alright, we got a pretty good position for ourselves here, which we do need since the enemy outnumbers us with sheer numbers of melee units and flyers. But fortunately, our entire left flank is protected by the wall of the plateau slash cliffside slash factory, whatever we've got here. Kind of oil thing. Anyway, here we go. The enemy will send forth one of the Beasts of Nurgle, and it immediately gets sniped down by the Fire Glaives. That was the damaged already solo Beast of Nurgle, and we've got more over here. We can't be focusing it, however, as the enemy Lord marches forth, and it's time to dish out some damage there. We're going to pop that Vial of Hashut that we got on Mr. Methanian, lowering his armor to a mere 10 and giving him a 60% weakness to fire as well. Considering all of the range units are doing fire fire damage and are all focusing him. This is gonna be ugly. And oh, look at that HP drop from half to nothing in mere seconds. Love that Valahasha. It looks like it was a good find specifically for hunting down individuals like that, or big boys. It does look like our melee line is getting overwhelmed, however, so we're going to back off our range units, and the enemy's own fast movers have arrived as well. Gonna throw those precursor weapons from our units of... Okay, I feel like half of those missed. From our units of Hobgob Sneaky Gits, and then start fighting the enemy Plague Toads. Gordas, could you maybe walk very slightly faster? Because he wants his minions to do the work. Alright, come on, buddy, get a kill. Alright, not the Plague Toad I was expecting you to hit, but sure. Anyway, he's going to continue that while we continue the main fight. Enemy is looking to overwhelm us. Fortunately, the Fire Glaives once again are anti-large, and the Death's Heads are probably foolish to attempt to close the distance with them. No, they're most likely trying to go for the Hobgoblin Archers. Out here, Plague Bearers are facing off against regular Chaos Dwarf Warriors with sword and board, and man, those dwarfs are short. The Plague Bearers absolutely towering over them. But these are the regular and not the exalted Plague Bearers, which means, well, 17 armor piercing is decent, and it's probably not enough to easily deal with the reasonably heavily armored Chaos Dwarfs. Looks like the Nurglings are fading away now. Plague Bearers and Nurglings alike having failed to breach our line on our left flank, and are dropping like, well, flies. Sorry, Nurgle. Although I suppose he'd prefer to drop like flies more than anything else. Anyway, and with that, the enemy army will shatter, and the last of the Plague Bearers will begin melting away. We mob them with gobos, and we pincushion them with fire arrows. And down go the last of the Plague Bearers, giving the battle and the settlement to us. Ooh, a Forbidden Rod, a very nice find for Drazh, though he'll need a little bit more spell resistance, some way of healing himself before he can use it too much, as it'll be liable to damage him. Anyway, a lovely fight, Methanian. Unfortunately, way too big of a target for us with a reasonable amount of range that we have, so we brought Big Boy down, and then that was a major source of the enemy army's weakness. Otherwise, our Hobgoblin Laborer, or our Goblin Laborers rather, continue to take damage, but until they are spent, that will always be the case. Occupy the place as a... I'm gonna say once again an outpost. I mean, generally the thing is we'll want to essentially... not prioritize, it's not the right word, the... specialize is the word. Oh, I want to see what the commandments were. Do we have a building commandment? Armaments output commandment, not bad. A recruitment commandment, not bad. And yes, construction. Oh, it reduces construction time as well. Well, that's swell. Meaning we can upgrade stuff next turn rather than this turn, as it'll reduce the construction time by 1 anyway. Lovely. And costs, so I guess we don't need to do anything with the buildings this turn. And ooh, glittering scales, another nice find. Nice. Getting decent items in this early game. Public order is kind of horrendous right now, but oh well, what can you do? Anyway, as I was starting to say, we need to be careful and make sure that we are able to... should probably get this bellicose guy on the field. Make sure that we are able to sort of specialize each individual province. What did Furs do for us? Recruitment for Chaos Dwarf infantry units, own armies in region. Specifically in region, eh? So it's not in the entire province. It's a little bit annoying, but it does mean cheaper recruitment, so I believe that's a factory, unless I'm mistaken. Factories can build the Chaos Dwarf Warrior building, and not all the way up to Infernal Guard and Iron Sworn. Well, actually up to the first level of Infernal Guard. So yeah, we'll build a factory there. Well, that's going to make it difficult for us to specialize the province. The Die Maker does nothing. I guess we could do factory, and then Or we could do an outpost and switch it to factory later. There's also that option. Anyway, let's deal with that later. Otherwise, I guess we're good to go to another turn. We do have a few points to assign. All right, let's assign some points. I think we're starting to move now, so let's get a root marcher. We'll want... You know what, actually, Ash Storm is pretty critical to our army, generally speaking, because it's a weakness to fire damage, and most of our army is going to be doing fire damage. Right now we're relying on the Hobgoblin Archers, which are fire, and the Gadai, which are fire, and the Fire Glaives. So yeah. Infernal Castellan. You can get Blade Master. We have been forced to send you into melee a bunch of times, and I think at this current time that hasn't changed as yet, so we'll see. Yes to the replenished troops, of course, on Mr. Gordas, and we gotta get him to rank 8 as fast as possible in order to get into Lucky. Get that lovely Vanguard and Stock attribute for all the Gobos. And I presume there's other stuff. Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff that'll upgrade him. In fact, other than replenished troops, we'll probably want to save all of his points because there's a lot of strong upgrades for the hobgobs in here. Alright, leave that alone for now. You can have root... you know what, let's go for Brutal Disciplinarian. Try immediately into Harsh Master to get the cheap sort of follower units around. And... speaking of follower units... I assume we won't be able to reach us in one turn. We won't. Alright, so I think that means we don't technically need to recruit expensive units. We could recruit some regular Gobbo laborers. Let's do that. Draj, leave the settlement, go back to channeling. You can set in the settlement, and then you can get goblin laborers. Like so. And then you can lose the glittering scales, and we can actually give it to Draj's army, because at least for now you're just a follower. I'm gonna say, Gordas, you will be assassinating things, so let's give it to our Infernal Castellan for now. Although there's a decent likelihood that that'll change. Anyway, that's another end turn unless I'm mistaken, so let's end the turn and proceed. Just want to double check Diplo. I doubt that there's anybody wanting to be too friendly with us right now. Kind of concerned about the fact that the Skaven faction is not at war with anybody. But it is what it is. Oh, these guys want peace now. We could peace out with them and then force them into a defensive alliance and have them guard this border instead of going down here. You can always break the alliance later, or just take a ton of their cash, do non-aggression, and just betray them later. I don't dislike the idea, and we can use them as a buffer zone. Let's see, we can still get 6.2k for the defensive lines, use them as a buffer zone, potentially cancel the agreement later. It's probably a decent little set of settlements, but probably not nearly as safe and would put us into a more exposed position heading deeper into the Darklands without the armies necessary to it. So that's what we're gonna do. Defensive alliance. There's a decent likelihood they'll cancel it, but whatever. Let's do it. Oh, they have another settlement here, I didn't even realize. Cute. I just want to see what this does for us. Raw materials 500 per turn. Ooh, lots of workload though, but that's quite nice. That's quite nice, so I have to keep that in mind. We are also losing massive amounts of labor per turn, but until we have a second province, we can't really do anything with it, so there's, well, nothing we can do about it. I guess we could build the strip mine. Well, no, we'll wait until next turn, because we have to go for the clay pit for the construction cost reduction again. I'd love to build a strip mine, but whatever. Outpost available, we'll ignore that for now as well, because there's a decent likelihood we'll betray these guys. Not 100%, mind you, but decent. End turn. Alright, and ooh, we are 2 turns away, unless I'm mistaken, from being able to acquire the first of the seats on the Conclave. We're in the tower. And so we'll definitely want to do that ASAP. Alright, what do we have here? The convoy, the guide. A guide has tracked down our convoy, offering to lead the way to our destination in exchange for a reasonable donation to his pockets. His price is frankly extortionate, but as they say in business, time is of the essence. Time is irrelevant. Find your own path. Because that convoy, isn't it even done? Okay, one more turn, alright. Ally begins outpost construction, though probably not forever. Anyway, this will allow us, I think, to move down here. So, Drazh, you're gonna keep channeling. I wanna see if we can't pick up this fill cargo while on land. I'm not entirely sure whether we can, but I feel like you can. I feel like I have in the past. And then we'll want to go after Flayed Rock and back down to Boulder Belly's hold. You will continue recruiting. And what do we want for now? I mean, I guess we could get a couple of Do we have... Wait, we do have armaments. We could get another... We got another Chaos Dwarf Warrior, though I feel like it's probably a better idea to just keep saving until we get the Ironworks up and running. Reasonably close already. Alright, now we do have the Masterful Architect thing, so... We will want to... Oh, dang. It's expensive, but it is what it is. Go for the clay pit first. I guess we'll upgrade both of the Overseer's camps after. And then I think we will immediately, though, upgrade the factory, just to get it up and running one turn sooner. Expensive though it may be. I also want to prioritize the high-powered drill assembly line, which will give us an extra 10 armaments per turn as soon as possible. Yeah, we're losing a massive amount of labor at this rate, and we need to spread it around between different provinces. Yeah, just do the factory now, and we'll see about the other stuff later. And frankly, the Hobgoblin bivouacs will probably have to be moved to an outpost rather than the factory, because we'll probably want to put the ash level as well as other stuff there, but in a little bit. Probably also want to get some of those Goblin Wolf Raiders and such. Anyway, upgrade available, outpost available, and that's another end turn. Alrighty, complete a trade with a military convoy, armaments plus 75, which gives us just enough to get to the first ironworks up and running, yes. The other option would be to build the demon smithy and get our first demon smith sorcerer. I assume we start with 2 capacity for them. The good thing about that is we need the ability to repair the Kadai, which we don't currently have, and obviously that'll be kind of an issue until we do. Exactly, it took the words right out of my mouth. Anyway, the tower is available now. Okay, so we'll need to take a look at this in a second. Alright, things are happening all of a sudden. Add unit goblin laborers? Sure, good job, buddy. Okay. I mean, we'll upgrade to tier 3... hopefully relatively soon as our outposts start pumping out raw materials, so I think to power up our army we'll probably want to focus on the magma cannon first, I guess. We have Gordas mostly supporting us, so we should be fine. Alright, let's get magma cannons. I want that artillery up and running. Let's also immediately upgrade both the Overseer's camps here. We'll need to upgrade the Potter to tier 2, and then we'll obviously want to get the raw materials flowing and our workload actually up and running to a proper degree. That, I believe, is that for the Masterful Architect, so we'll switch you briefly to the control... I guess we'll switch you to recruitment cost. Yeah, we're going to switch you to recruitment cost for a little bit, build a few more hobgobs and goblin laborers. Then we'll want to see... When's the magic? Okay, yeah, you can channel after. Can we do this? We can't do this. Beautiful. All right, that's another battle. Lovely. Pleasant surprise. Oh, we're not so pleasant surprise. All right. Well, I didn't know that would work that way. Well, we don't have time to. I don't think we have time to. We could sail, but it'll probably take, what, like 2 turns out of our time here? And we may want to proceed to Flayed Rock. Are you guys at war with anybody? They're not. And they could declare war on us at any moment. We can always come back here. We'll most likely have to come back through this way, or this way towards the Skaven. But who knows what Henrietta is holding here. If we go into March Stance out of curiosity, I think we'll be able to head into the water. I guess the question will be, where can we actually land here? Oh, we should be able to land at the ford. Alright, screw it. I'm kind of invested in this now, so let's do this. But it's not a terrible idea. Alright, let's go after Henrietta Jenkins. I wonder if she'll try to attack us. Plus, they've got 2 rotting leviathans. I mean, we gotta fight that, right? Come on. You, sir, are gonna go this way. And then you will start... Oh, you know what? We can use you to scout Flayed Rock, and at the same time build a few more goblin laborers, even without the recruitment reductions. And we'll get a few more hobgobs once we have the recruitment reductions up and running. Technologies. I believe there was something specific that we wanted, and that was an industry. So let's get labor quotas to get the labor gain post-battle, and then into live to work, work to live, just like real life. And the construction cost reduction for outpost settlement buildings, which would have actually been useful here, and then to the construction reduction minus 5%, generally. Alright, nothing else to do unless I'm mistaken. Wait, I lied. There is something to do. Tower of Jar. Alright, let's take a look at what options we have. Casualty or punishment rate plus 5 is quite valuable. I do like all of the... there's 3 versions of this, right? The random weapon or armor every some turns. Income from province, capital, and settlement buildings is quite nice. It's actually fairly significant for us. We probably want this for the raw materials output. Although I'd wager that armament output is more valuable, generally speaking. Yeah, the most important ones are probably the armaments, possibly Warmonger, definitely casualty or punishment rate, though now with Gordas it'll be a little bit easier, and definitely the raw materials for the percentage thing, and the income. I'm gonna say start with armaments, like so. Immediately causes wall breaches when besieging. That would be pretty solid as well. And Conclave Influence plus 5, well, isn't that lovely? The Tower of Jar is a hustle and bustle of workshops, forges, laborers, and warriors, and where the powerful meet to exert their influence over them. To hold sway over its ancient districts is a path to power in itself, both for you and all Dawi Jar. Alright, skip. Outpost available, ignoring for now. We're certainly not paying Nurglites 2k for that. And let's see if we can't hunt down Henrietta Jenkins. Did she disappear? Huh. Alright, so unfortunately it does look like this little army does indeed disappear. I was curious, I didn't know that that would happen if we accessed it via the land. Just a shame that we have a cliffside here along the along the river/canal, which meant that we couldn't make good use of it. Now between the, well, it's not between the episodes, between the end turns, the House of Korak here, which is a Chaos Dwarven faction, decided to declare war on the Pallid Nurslings. We'll let them fight it out amongst themselves and see who wins, but, well, let's just let them fight. At least it'll keep these guys busy and hopefully not taking territory that would otherwise probably we would want to belong to us. Anyway, I guess since we're in the water now, we'll continue in the water this way. So keep going this way, Drash. And then you, sir, are going to go to the Black Causeway, wherein we can do the military doctrine. Alright, so we'll want to do 2 things here. Alright, so these guys are building armies. First of all, magma cannons are now available. They're stupidly expensive, but, oh well, they're magma cannons. Gotta have them. And I guess we can build another couple of hubgub sneaky gits. Honestly, if we could get a few skullcrackers, that would be swell. I'm also fairly tempted by a couple more Chaos Dwarf Warriors with shields just to be our mainliners right now. Certainly tempting, and we, just out of curiosity, do we have another convoy that we could send? Yeah, I forgot to send one that turn. Oh well. Monster Commander, ooh, a Kadai army. Let's go with the Kadai army. Send you, but this time not this way. Let's send you somewhere further. We've got... we could try Gristle Valley. It's a fair bit of labor. Let's do Gristle Valley. We don't have any more money to send, so that's all we'll do. Alright, go. See if this convoy survives. And if it finds a nice fight, well, then it'll find a nice fight. We'll be happy about it. Alright, these guys are going to take 2 turns, but it'll take us about 2 turns to get here anyway, so we'll have magma cannons available by the time we get there. And 1, 2, 3 slots, meaning 2 magma cannons and a 5th hobgoblin sneaky get. Assuming we don't want to spend any more armaments for any more of these guys. We can't afford it anyway, so we couldn't do that if we wanted to. Alright, we then don't need military doctrine anymore unless I'm mistaken, and can go back into Masterful Architects because we'll need to keep building stuff up here. Skip and then turn. Alright, there we go. We started with 455 factions, I believe, and we're down now to 421, which means we're in a better place than we were before. 1,000 gold for a man-eater with iron fists, eh? I mean, I guess we weren't going to spend money on anything right now, so make the convoy more powerful. It's a solid unit to add as well. It's a little bit annoying, but sure. The strength of an ogre is unmatched anywhere. At least that's what the group of rotund mercenaries assured us when offering to guard our trade convoy on its route. Although the might of the Dowie Jar no doubt puts their claim to shame, the extra muscle wouldn't go amiss. Ogre's services, however, certainly would not come free of charge. Fortunately, well, we have the money right now, so we'll take the ogre's assistance. It's a longer convoy, so they're bound to... Hey, these guys just declared war on somebody. Go figure. That works out well for us, because they'll be moving away. Anyway, Mr. Drazhoath, you will land now. I won't be able to channel, unfortunately, just out of curiosity. Wait, you go... I think we should be able to cross and then hit the enemy in one go, so we can go into our own territory unless I'm mistaken. I hope I'm not wrong about this. Just to heal up a teensy bit more, not that it's all that much. Alright, you're gonna go here. Burning Deeps. Alright, now it's critical that we get you. Armaments 50 per turn, raw materials minus 150. Oh! And we can't get it yet. We need to wait another... 2 turns? No, yeah, about 2 turns. We just need these to be upgraded in order to start pumping out the, raw materials. That's what the outposts are for, damn it. Alright, so I guess we'll wait the turn. That's fine. We still got the cannons on the way. And you are now in the Masterful Architects. Gotta pay attention to the public order as well. I know it's going to cost us some labor, but I think we'll use set an example one more time, just because public order is very nasty in SFO. When it reaches the lowest level, it gives us a -1 faction-wide control, and we're about to start our second province, so we should probably put that to use. Anyway, about another goblin labor. They're basically free, so yeah. All right, unassigned skill points, building upgrades available. Wait, who has skill points? Huh? Wait, who has skill points? Am I crazy, or do none of you have skill points? Wait. It said unassigned skill points, right? Or maybe it didn't. Maybe I don't know what the heck. What did I see? I have no idea. Alright, all of these things will be completed as we go, but for now, I guess we're good. Oh, I know who has unassigned skill points. Military convoy guy, right? No. This guy does, right? Yeah, this guy does. Alright, so a cost of convoy shortcut. Oh, I guess, let's see, maximum cargo capacity, better scales, sale value. I'm actually gonna say start with hidden stores because the attrition is concerning, though I guess the intercept battle being an ambush is also not great, but yeah, attrition is scary. Anyway, let's do that. Moving through all these territories, lots of stuff running around the Darklands, go figure. Can't wait to fight some of these factions. Oh, there's a Kislev faction up there as well. Lovely. Anyway, I believe that's the end turn now. New convoy contracts, does that mean that the previous contract, or the previous convoy thing has been completed? Or, no, active convoys 1 out of 1, so it's just new places available or new locations that we found. Sure. Labor gain post-battle, treasury, and most importantly, let's finally get those raw materials flowing. So, 1,200 here, and we'll need to earn 1,200 more for this one, I guess. This also costs a fair bit of labor, but fortunately, we're about to head into a fight and hopefully acquire some. So, you, Drazhoath, I'm gonna declare war on these guys. We'll ask the clan Engauger for this. They want a non-aggression pact. That's these guys, I assume, right? I think that's these guys. I wish I knew which faction exactly it was. Because if it's these guys, it might actually be a decent idea to, once again, ally with them for now as we head a little bit southward and sort of grab up all of this territory without fighting on too many fronts. And we can always betray them later. Frankly, the Skaven would probably feel weird if we didn't betray them. We'll attack the Burning Wind Nomads. And you'll give us money. Non-aggression pact. I'm really gonna hope that it's these guys. But I genuinely don't know. I'm not sure that there is a way to know. Select and zoom to faction doesn't work because we can't see them, I presume. Wait. Maybe if we do it from here? No.
Listen, this
Nestler is ours. Who contends?
So this is, I guess, the bigger problem of not knowing exactly where where factions are. Because if they're okay, wait, I want to see if there's Skaven corruption down here. Because if there is, it might be these guys might be down here. I see vampiric corruption, but I do not see Skaven corruption. Alright, I'm gonna take a chance, and then if we have to wait 10 turns to betray them, it's not a big deal. I guess it'll just allow us to tech forward towards advanced units. So diplomacy, once again, Skaven. As odd as it may seem to be allying with them. Let's initiate diplomacy, non-aggress, join war against the Burning Wind Nomads, and give us your money. And we needed money right now anyway, so it's a decent use of our time. And that gave us some more money as well. Lovely. We'll take our next tech. Not the tradable resources. Construction time for ports is relatively useless. Income from refinery and outpost. I'm gonna say no to any of those. Pandemic preparations, chance of plague spreading reductions. We're not fighting the Nurglites, though. We'll have to be aware of getting plagues from them. Diplo with Chaos Dwarfs might be useful, and same with the Allegiance points. Starved Wolves, you know, let's go to Call to War. Melee defense +4 for Chaos Dwarf melee infantry units. It's not anything crazy, but then we can get reload reduction for blunderbusses, and let's face it, they're pretty darn useful units. Alright, then we can upgrade the second thing that we wanted here, which was the strip mine. Raw materials 200 per turn at a cost of needing to have +600 labor, so our labor will be a little bit light, but that's fine. We need a massive amount of raw materials now. I guess we could reduce this further by upgrading this instead, and it'll be 20% construction reduction. Which ain't too bad. Yeah, fine, do it first. Do it first, we might get enough money from fighting at Flayed Rock. Speaking of Flayed Rock, Drazhoath, it's you again, buddy. I believe these guys aren't able to cross the water to our undefended territories before we get there. And decisive victory. I'm willing to bet it'll be even more decisive once we send in these guys. Huh, lagged again. Whenever this guy moves, there's something wrong with him. There's something very, very wrong with this guy. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Alright, and I'm going to risk auto-resolving this. This is obviously not worth fighting. Hopefully we'll meet a full stack and then... yeah, basically no damage. Beautiful. Occupy all these places as outposts for now. If we need to build factories, we'll build factories. It's control, so that doesn't do anything for us, and we'll also want to build strip mines, but for now, let's go for the money pits. Because we need the money, and I'm not sure that we have the labor to do that. Although, we're about to gain some more from the labors of war. Lovely. All life other than that of the Dowie Jar only has a value as a resource, a commodity of muscle and sinew to be amassed, exploited, and spent. Even now, the need for fresh labor increases with time, the vast industries of your isolated empire ever hungering for more. Well, we won't be isolated for long, I bet. Let's get that other strip mine now. And what we'll want to do is really not collect any labor here. We'll keep it all in Lower River Ruin. Yes. And are we now able to go for the -150? Yeah, alright, fine, let's get the gunsmith and start the armament flow as well. So it'll be -150 and then +400. So it'll work. And hold off on the hobgoblin bivouacs, I guess. Alright, well, looks good to me. You can sit out here and channel. Gotta remember to do that constantly. And then you can, I guess, build a couple more. Oh! You can global recruit with that, but anyway, let's keep those goblin laborers going. And also Slanesha Giggle, also Harsh Master for you, sir. Lovely. Make them even cheaper. Alright, that works for me. Let's go to double check anything useful here. Peace with the Burning Wind Nomads. Huh, I guess they're not having a good time fighting against somebody. Chattel of Zjar. Kinda want a trade agreement, but not super relevant. And the Hellforge, we do have the ability to get some more Chaos Dwarf Warriors, but we'll wait for now. Though we do... Well, I want this Bellicose guy, but we'll wait until he takes the slot of this guy, because I don't want to spend the extra money right now. End turn. I hope I didn't guess wrong about where that Skaven faction is located, because it'll be annoying if we're now allied with a faction that's down here, but if we are, we are. Not much we can do about that. We just go around them while we betray them in 10 turns, and then, yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of other factions to be fighting down here, and by the looks of it, we're completely surrounded by potential foes, so we need to be careful. And the distances being increased... Oh, I forgot I was supposed to... Okay, well, I'm doing this turn normally, rather than editing it out. Well, it's gotten a little bit faster. Not as fast as I'd like, but anyway. The distances that are vastly increased between territories in the old world do mean that you have to think a little bit more about your positioning and about where your allies are. I generally don't like to build defensive structures anywhere in Immortal Empires, but that might actually be a little bit different in old world. We'll see. We did do old world campaigns previously on this channel with the orcs under Grimgor and the vampire coast under Aranessa, even though Aranessa shouldn't be vampire coast. But anyway, it's been a long enough time now that it's a new experience again. Anyway, gouge the world, construct a building, more money, more labor. We keep getting these little missions. Are they from? Are they just all missions that the Chaos Dwarfs always have, or do they have something to do with the Great Drill of Hushid, which I think is usually for the Chaos Dwarfs in the... Whoa, is that a full stack? Okay, that's a little bit concerning. We should probably peace out with those guys. For the mini campaign for the Chaos Dwarfs, but anyway, for Realm of Chaos or whatever it is, gouge the world, sure. Construct a building from the assembly line. Oh, for the love of... Have 700 raw materials. Okay. Have 400 armaments. Okay. Oh, they just won't stop. A hero becomes legend. Win 10 battles with any single hero character. Sure. Oh, wow. These guys are not piecing out. Alright. Well, I'm willing to bet that with a full stack, they should be able to take sulfur pits and... Did these guys lose their main stack? I think they lost their main stack here. Ooh, we need to do this and then get back here before they lose their stuff. We may even want to... Well, we probably can't build a defense here, but we can probably start a new lord recruiting. Also, labor is once again a problem. Our efficiency has dropped to 98%, which is not great. Or at the very least, the Chaos Dwarves would be upset about it. Let's do this. You're going to go into... Oh, that's not going to work. Go here. There isn't a full stack here, is there? I don't see one. Go into ambush. I don't think that there's too much point of this, but who knows. And then you can go here. Follow along. Maybe there's a full stack that we can't see, so why risk it, right? Anyway, you are going to level up. We have Ashstorm now. You know what? Let's get Root Marcher, finally. Infernal Castellan, you've reached level 5, which means another point in increased mobility. We'll prioritize that over this stuff. And we'll have to choose between shotgun versus sniper on you as well. Generally, I used to go for sniper, but I don't know. I kind of... late game in Zeta, and I started to prefer shotgun over sniper, so... But then again, this is SFO, so we have to try them both, because they'll probably be pretty different. That's the way I figure it anyway. Anyway, we got building, Spice Root, Flayed Rock. We should upgrade you, but right now, at the current cost, it's a little much. 1,200 money to upgrade the port for a little bit of free public order isn't bad. And this will be spend 600 raw materials to increase double the armaments. Well, the raw material loss isn't too bad, especially if we get the bigger mine shaft. It's just that we just don't really have the labor to deal with it right now. Either way, we're probably going to wait until the Potter is up and running anyway, so we'll just wait. And that, I guess, means another end turn. Let's see what these guys do. I would like to fight some Cathians, at least. Oh. Other than... Yeah, you know what? Let's get the Bellicose guy up and running. Overseer. Bellicose, that's you, sir. And Dremar the Black. You're gonna sit here, and then we will potentially raise you some troops. Maybe not this turn. We'll see if this guy starts moving towards the sulfur pits, and if he does, then we probably will. Anyway, end turn. Go figure, the ambush did sort of work out. I wasn't expecting that. It looks like Drazhoath is actually coming in as reinforcements, or possibly even, they're attacking. Well, either way, I guess that doesn't change matters. We are fighting. We'll have to be careful. It'll take 2 minutes to get onto the field, and they'll probably be in position before we are. Interesting. I'm surprised that they're attacking, since it seems like the ambush has failed. Go. All right, here we go. Look at that river, that avalanche, rock slide, whatever, of little goblin laborers heading towards where our reinforcements are coming onto the field. We will have to be careful here, as there is a significant amount of Cathans arrayed against us, and it's not the peasant archers that we have to be concerned about, but the Jade Warriors. Look at those stats, 50 and 44 melee attack and defense, and 80 armor on them. That's pretty nasty stat sheet so darn early, but that's the Jade Warriors for you. Like Dwarf Warriors, they are absolutely incredible in the early game and will last you mid-game and even late game, especially in SFO, as a solid line units. Anyway, obviously our poor little goblin laborers won't be able to do anything about them, but they can stand here, maybe not so much menacingly, but stand here and bait the enemy into moving this way. This will be good for us because our main stack is coming in here, and if we can set up on this hill with our artillery, we will have a superior firing position to deal with the enemy from. Anyway, our single overseer overseeing this massive herd of goblin laborers will push them forward into the enemy lines of the peasant long spears and Jade Warriors, as well as, I believe, peasant horses as well. And just the distraction, of course, we're not expecting these guys to do damage, we just don't want them moving closer to where our reinforcements are arriving, as they might potentially tie them up before they got into position. Peasant horses charging through, and looks like they have enough mass to move through the little tiny goblin laborers. Arrows are dropping from above as well, though I see a few of them landing into the enemy zone units, so frankly, if the presence of our disposable goblin laborers causes the enemy to land a few arrows into its own much more elite troops, well, that'll certainly work well for us. Anyway, the goblin laborers will continue pinning the enemy back, but it looks like Drazhoath has arrived with his main stack as well. And another charge from those laborers, but they only need to block the enemy off for a little while longer. Looks like the bait worked out as well, and most of the enemy army decided to move this way to try to capture the laborers before they moved through this valley, and will be approaching us through this little valley as well, which is part of the plan. It's not a particularly safe position, and the magma cannons are now available to us, which, as we all know, are a very nasty artillery piece against enemy infantry. So we'll get to see them in action shortly. Anyway, looks like with Drazhoath having arrived, we're going to send some reinforcements to help those Gabo laborers out, as best we can anyway, before they're completely obliterated by those Jade Warriors. And the magma cannons have taken their positions and are getting ready to fire their first salvos into the enemy. There we go. Enemy is on the approach in pretty big numbers, but some nice hits from those magma cannons, followed by a couple nice burning rats by the looks of the piles of corpses, charred corpses I should say, left behind. Gonna fill up the valley with goblin laborers again and block the enemy off, and behind them we will set up our shielded sort of line of dwarf warriors should the enemy get through the disposable units. I guess after playing Manfred, it does still see... Oh, wow, sky turning all red. I guess after playing Manfred, this tactic is pretty familiar. It's just we're using goblin laborers instead of zombies. A couple nice shots from our magma cannons, burning many a laborer, I assume, but burning many a Jade Warrior, I assume as well. Here come the Kadai, rather, to add their twin blades and their fire to the fray, as well as their melee damage reflection, which they certainly need, as they're a rather fragile unit, the Fireborn I mean. And destroyers not so much, but it'll be a fair bit before we get any of those. Anyway, looks like the enemy Jade Warriors are finally starting to get overrun here. They've been getting hit in the back by those Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits while pressed against the anvil of that massive pile of Goblin Laborers. And back here, our other units of Sneaky Gits have caught the enemy Peasant Archers and are now hunting them down while the other Goblins hold back the Jade Warriors. It looks like I just missed it, but the enemy Lord managed to get a very nice, we can see the HP, Dragon's Breath going through our line of units, and by the looks of it has essentially cleared out all the Goblin Laborers that were here. That's alright though, they were merely blocking off the enemy for the Chaos Dwarf Warriors which have arrived and will now be blocking the rest of them properly. While our range units, whether they be Magma Cannon or Fire Glaive, will gun down all those poor enemy archers. It's peasants with bows versus laser glaives. Yeah. Oh, you gotta love Warhammer. Anyway, out here we have the fire arrows flying over the heads, although they don't have to fly very high, of the Chaos Dwarfs. Although they do have those magnificent hats. Hard to beat the Chaos Dwarfs hat game unless you're Nagash. Oh, there we go. And this positioning looks like it's really working quite well for us. Drazhoath is in the fight as well. I guess we gotta enjoy his melee animations for a little while, as we probably won't be, well, at least we won't be seeing him on foot for too much longer. Gotta double check what level he gets under breath. I want to say 14, but I could be wrong. Anyway, out here, looks like the Jade Warriors are still holding 38 kills and 79 kills to their name. Unfortunately, with only Goblin Laborers and the 2 or 3 units of the Sneaky Gits that were here, the Jade Warriors were able to hold just fine. With that said, now the Kadai have arrived and the armor-piercing damage will start to tell, and those Jade Warriors will decide that they can't stay in the fight. And so will the rest of the army, as well as the battle is ours. We managed to turn this into a sort of pseudo choke point battle with some fantastic positioning, and between the fire glaives and the magma cannons, obliterate the blob of enemies. Beautiful. A really fun fight, and some great cinematic shots as well. It's like this little pit here in the center of the map. Ooh, a potion of healing, very nice. I guess the plus 100% item drop chance on this guy is actually paying dividends, and probably actually turned out to be a good idea to have him as the follower army. Racking up more of those artifacts for Draj. He'll be pretty darn powerful by the time that we get Cinder Breath. Otherwise, a nice battle. The Dragon-Blooded Shugengan got 18k damage out of that very, very massive Dragon's Breath through the middle of our Goblin Laborers. But, well, you know what, scorching a few Laborers is certainly something that our faction is used to, so hardly an issue for us. Our Magma Cannons already racking up 27k damage and 13k damage. Pretty nice, considering they came in on as reinforcements, and frankly, the enemy army kind of got screwed by the positioning of the Goblin Laborers, so they certainly served their purpose in acting as bait. We have 1,000 labor, and considering we're a little bit short right now, while I'd love the money, we're going to grab the labor, and that will bump up our efficiency to full. I'm probably going to have to spread some of that labor around now as well. Alright, I wonder if that was their main stack, as in, did that just break their entire faction? I guess we're going to have to find out. Our turn is, of course, still ending. And we'll continue ending. On and on and on. Hey, but we're down to 403 factions. Alright, looks like nearly 50 factions have been destroyed since we started. That was reasonably quick, although it probably counts a lot of those as sort of starting factions that you start against that are deliberately designed to be obliterated. So there is that. What do we have here? This is the Kadai Fireborn Convoy, but, well, yeah, I had a couple of cutthroats. I don't think these guys need replenishment since they're all good. I will give a read to each one of these convoy things once, as in they do repeat themselves, so once we've read one of them, well, all of them at least once, then we won't bother reading them or rereading them. An eager tribe of half-brained hobgoblins have appeared from seemingly nowhere, intending to offer their services. Hushet only knows where they were hiding. Despite their frankly annoying enthusiasm, their blades could come in handy, or perhaps you could make use of this blessing they keep on rambling about. Numbers are superior. Alright, free potion of healing, but not for you, sir, though you have been useful so far. And Drazhoath got a Dawnstone as well. Have 700 raw materials, a little bit of cash, a little bit of labor. Defeat the following lord's army in battle. Burning when nomads. Mission issued. I think we can manage to pull that one off, don't you? Several seconds, in fact. Alright, but first of all, you. Harsh Master, keep getting that. It probably helps our auto-resolve to some degree. And then let's max out Ash Storm. Ooh, do we max out Ash Storm or Burning Wrath? You know what, we do spam Burning Wrath, and we will spam Ash Storm. On the other hand, we should also probably start saving points to get all the good stuff here, but, well, we'll get to it. Anyway, you actually will also have to save all of your points. In fact, I shouldn't have gotten Bloody Blade, but I guess it'll be a little bit better because of it, so not the worst thing in the world either. Anyway, you two, go hunt this guy down, and then we'll hit the Boulder Belly's hold. I'll resolve. And a free whatever amount of money we got out of that, and let's take this money as well. It's better money than... It was a better amount of money than it was labor. And then, I guess we can use... You know what, now let's do this. Drazhoath, you can reinforce. We want you to head down towards the spice market as fast as possible, so we'll have you hit the Boulder Belly's hold, which I assume is relatively sparsely defended. It'll be sparsely enough for us to not be particularly concerned here. Auto-resolve. Alright, that looks good to me, and we will occupy it as another outpost, I guess. Victory over Cathay, victory over Cathay, another Forbidden Rod, very, very nice. You can, I guess, keep that one because we don't have much of a choice. I see we've lost sight of this guy, which means, I guess, a good idea not to have this guy build anything as yet. Irate, weapon strength plus 10 for the entire army, enemy charge ones. Not a huge fan of any of these. I probably want to start one of these guys up, and frankly, maybe another needful one. I'm really liking this item drop rate. It might actually be better than buffing up armies, just constantly having items on the way. Alright, we'll see what buildings we have, and then we'll decide on that. Drazhoath, you will need to head towards the spice market, and you will need to channel while doing so, so please do. Looks like not traveling by road is faster. Fine by me, and ooh, you have 2 armies out here. That's bad for you, though. Oh, some nice stuff. Sky Lantern, not so nice. Although better in SFO than in vanilla. Max out Harsh Master, please. Lovely. And you will reinforce if needed, and I'm just going to level you guys up just in case you get attacked. I don't think they will. As for this, explosive bullets. It destroys your range, but it does give you the upgraded Warhammer, and that significantly reduces the time it takes for you to dig in, as opposed to the longer time but the massively increased range for sniping. With a sniper, this gives you the sundering attacks at the loss of armor and potential melee stats. Oh, I do like the flash bomb, though the flash bombs do tend to be better for sort of melee-focused guys. Or, well, range-focused armies. That's literally the opposite of what I was saying. But it's a fairly nice debuff for a decent amount of time. Vanguard deployment as well, eh? But sundering attacks. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm gonna say we're going to go with the short range for now. We're gonna have at least 2 of these guys, so we may do 2 and then just check out how they both work. For now, at least, enemies are moving closer to our battle lines, and that means these guys will probably want to be shotgun and stuff. Ooh, the stabbiest. Yes, please. And we immediately go into dodge them to get that missile resistance and melee defense for hobgobs. It's just fantastic. All right, Gordas, keep leveling. Drazhoath is good. Boulder Belly's hold we can ignore for now. You're both outposts, and I don't think we want to pay this. Where's the public order? So, oh, it's the conquest. Okay, that's going to not go away for a little bit. How are we doing here? So we are at 348 armaments. So we could bump up our armaments to get another magma cannon, or frankly, I'm probably just going to build a couple skullcrackers because I want them, and no reason other than that. We could also upgrade the high-power drill assembly line now. Workload plus 150. And we have plenty of, and we have plenty of labor now. As long as we're only using the one province for it, we can actually probably take advantage of it to bump up our raw materials and stuff. Maybe that's the way we should do it then. Alright, fine. More raw materials. Go for the mine shafts. Go for the... I should probably upgrade this place. Ugh, it's expensive. Wait. No. We should upgrade that after we get this to get the... Yeah, you know what? That's what we'll do. And then we'll be able to build all the outposts significantly cheaper. Which means we will forego upgrading that thing, the drill, and instead go live to work, work to live. And then immediately next turn we'll be able to spend our cash on better outpost buildings. Which means also more money generation, which all works out nicely. Alright, that I believe is good. Let us... I guess if we're not building anything with you right now, let's end the turn. These guys, I take it, still don't want to peace out. They're also... No, okay, I was wondering whether they were fighting in another faction other than us, but apparently not the case. 225 for the war machines. We could do also Infernal Guard, but until we can get the tier 3 up and running here, which is quite a lot of raw materials, okay, so yeah, we'll need those mine shafts. Anyway, none of that is stuff that we can deal with right now, so end turn.
Drazhoath is Victraza.
Alrighty, and ooh, hello, we have a potential convoy fight, and oh wow, we've got Chaos Warriors, including a giant and stuff, huh? Oh man, I can't say no to that, even if it's actually a fairly dangerous fight for us. I don't know how long our Chaos Dwarf Warriors are going to be able to hold us. I guess it'll just depend on how long we can allow our Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses to fire at the enemy. Should be pretty darn fun. Alright, kill these creatures. Why not? And, oh wow, we are horribly out of time. Yeah, well, I gotta do it. Kill these creatures. Oh, I haven't read this. Traversing realms is hungry work. If these demons we've encountered are to be believed, you could choose to sate their gluttonous appetites in the hope of avoiding a fight. Yet on the other hand, death would solve their hunger too, and assuage ours. Kill. Valiant defeat indeed. Yeah, I'm not sure this little convoy can manage to pull this up, but, well, they gotta give it a shot. 85 leadership, eh? That's a problem. Go. Alright, here we go. Convoy battle and even more variety for this particular episode. And you gotta love Old World for that. I mean, it's only the first episode and we've already had fights against the Orcs, Nurglites, Cathians, and now Chaos as well. Really quite fun, isn't it? Gotta love a variety so early in the campaign. Anyway, we are going to be facing off against a potentially fairly tough foe for us here. The enemy has a decent pile of monstrous infantry to match our own. We got two, they've got two, but they've got the giant, we've got the Kedai Destroyer. And they also have a lot of those Chaos Warriors with very solid stat lines, 50 and 61 melee attack and defense compared to the 40-45 of our own units. More heavily armored than us and obviously a higher tier than us, as the Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors are a better unit than the more basic Chaos Dwarf Warriors, at least until we unlock a bunch of the buffs for them. Eventually they do become quite strong, even basic as they are. And I'm curious what heights we can take them with SFO, because as I said before, or I think or at least I meant to say before, well, I did say before, but in other campaigns, this is my first time doing Chaos Dwarfs with SFO, and I've been curious to see how the stat lines and stuff change with them. Anyway, here we go. Once again, we are using the sort of impassable little pile of rocks on our right flank to act as a barrier. The enemy Chaos Warriors will start moving in, and we'll start firing into them with our blunderbusses, and it looks like the first volley does 1.4k damage. Once again, compared to vanilla, really not that much. It's going to take some time. Out here, looks like the enemy will attempt to charge us or loop around us with a unit of Chaos Warhounds. The Kadai Destroyer will stop them just long enough for the Chaos Dwarf Warriors to get them locked down. Over on the left flank, the Kadai are fighting together with a unit of Hobgoblin Cutthroats, which will hopefully allow our Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses to get into position and fire into the flanks and rear of the enemy unit. The Kadai, in the meantime, will be trying to deal with the enemy Chaos Trolls, fortunately not the armored variant, and capitalize on their troll metabolism or troll regeneration and fire weakness that entails. Alright, Blunderbuss is going to take some shots actually into the sides of the Chaos spawn here, as our Destroyer is a little bit too busy trying to deal with the tiny looking giant by comparison. Man, I forget how gigantic those Kadai Destroyers are. Let's see one face off against the Mutalith Vortex Beast. Just because I think it'll be entertaining. Anyway, that thing will be whacking away at that giant for a while, I'd wager. Out here we have the Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses doing the same thing, taking shots into the enemy's flanks. And once again, since this is not vanilla and Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses aren't anywhere near as overpowered here, it's going to be taking quite a while, quite a few shots into the enemy to do significant damage. 37 kills and 112k so far, and they've been firing for about 3 minutes straight. Slowly but surely whittle down those droves of Chaos Warriors. Alright, and ooh, nice hit from the giant, knocking back the Kadai Destroyer there, although it looked like that hit was down on the units below, and oh, the one Chaos Warrior gets sent flying by the Giant's club. That's great. Alright, Doggos have rallied and will go after the Kadai Destroyer once more, but well, it sounds like they're a threat to it. Our Man-Eaters, which we did get in this army, and by the looks of it are coming in pretty handy, are holding off the enemy Chaos Warriors in the center, together with the help of our Overseer. It looks like the enemy Chaos Warriors with halberds did manage to charge through, as our left flank has completely collapsed. The units of Gobos have routed, and our Kadai Fireborn are attempting to starting to melt away. Unfortunately, they're still needed, and even though it would probably be better to get to them to back off so that they don't fully be destroyed or get destroyed, we have to commit every unit that we can here, because once again, it's a bit of a tough fight. Chaos Spawn are down to about 20% of their HP, and our own Kadai Fireborn are melting away, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Chaos Giant's down to about 1/3 of its HP, and the Kadai Destroyer still up at around 2/3. So it should be able to carry the day against the enemy Giant. And the blunderbusses are still in this position and still firing into the enemy flanks. Could have probably moved them a little bit further, but, well, before it was easier to fire into the enemy, their numbers have dwindled since a little bit. And Chaos Warriors with halberds are still fighting, and it looks like the Trolls are back in action. Blunderbusses have taken aim at the enemy Lord, which is on occasion a better use for the blunderbusses than firing into droves of infantry, as they're quite good at sniping single entities like this, if they stand still and allow them to get a few nice shots. Like so. Alright, and firing into the backslash sides of that enemy Lord will bring him down to about 25% of his HP. Time to focus the camera. There we go. I was about to say it's time to start focusing the Giant a little bit, or, well, pretty much anything we can hit. Fraltras, the enemy Lord, and goes down, and it looks like with him, the rest of the enemy army will shatter. Giant looks like it's marching heedless of the blunderbuss fire smashing into it. Kadai Destroyer is annoyed that the enemies are routing, but the Chaos Spawn are not, so it will knock the last of the Chaos Spawn down, giving the battle to us. One more volley into the Giant and the big boy will fall, and I just want to see that animation before we end the battle. Alright, come on, blunderbusses. Move up. There we go. And big boy topples, and these guys earn their kill. And a little bit of extra damage, though it looks like they were able to rack up a very solid damage count here as well. Oh, alright, we did manage to pull it off. It was a fairly difficult fight with a Pyrrhic victory at that, and the loss of the Kadai Fireborn, once again with no way to repair them, that was liable to happen. That said, I just can't say no to a good fight, even at the loss of a convoy if we need to lose one. We could heal up, but it's relatively negligible. I'd say at 2,000 gold, it's well worth our time. Certainly more gold than the convoy would bring us, or whatever it is the convoy is bringing back, so I won't say no to that either. Hey, there we go. Live to work to live, construction time for outpost settlement buildings, and have 400 armaments for raw materials. Good. And Dwemer Leech Orb. What is this? Carry out a successful assassination. Oh, wow. Okay, that's not gonna happen. At least not anytime soon. Oh, assassinate a guy that's half a world away. Okay, game. Okay, you're okay. Overseer's Tower and Overseer's Tower. There we go. Keep leveling up those outposts. Though that's a big investment in them now. We gotta be careful about them getting taken by a nearby faction. May even want to build defensive structures there, at least for now, rather than the treasure troves, which is what I was going to do, but certainly iffy. The Hobgoblin bivouacs also do provide some garrison, so I mean, at the very least, the Great Butchery is a relative... I mean, Black Causeway is relatively safe, so we could do something here. We could even build a port, or cannot if we need to. Certainly something to think about. Anyway, you guys, the Cathayans, I assume that this is your last territory and you've just given up because you're abandoning ship, I guess. I doubt that they'll sally out, but who knows. So we'll still do this, we'll march stance over here, and then we will besiege these guys and build some stuff. We'll give them a chance to sally out. It might even be better if we don't approach with our follower army, because that might give these guys more of a reason to actually try us. If it's both armies together, they probably won't. On the other hand, the 100% magic item find chance is still something that we want to make use of. I guess we could always besiege these guys, knock a few holes in their walls with our magma cannons, and then proceed through their settlement. Wait, I assume it's a regular settlement? That doesn't say anything about buffing up the tower, so it wouldn't be a broken one. All right, so you're gonna go here, and we will give them a chance to sally out. But we're gonna have to do it next time. We are very, very much out of time. This one went long. At least I think it went long. To be honest, because of all the editing I have to do over the end turns, it's going to be kind of difficult to figure out where we are in terms of the timing of the episodes. So either way, we will end it here, and then next time we will continue sort of grabbing the territory here until we reach the water and get some ports open for ourselves. Probably get a separate army to start marching down through the Dragon Isles. I do wonder how rich the Dragon Isles are in this compared to Immortal Empires, and I'll be interested to find out, because we can certainly use a decent location. Now, unfortunately, since ports seem to be terrible for us, funnily enough, we'll be one of the only factions which don't really get anything from it. They don't give us any gold, they don't give us any materials, they don't do nothing. But oh well. Anyway, more, I want to say Zatan. It's still in my head from the Zatan campaign. More Drazhoath to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.